Hello, all you super awakening wonders out there. Joining me today is Lori, and she is here to talk about her healing journey and where she was before we started our work together. And, we just got done talking about my website says Ignite the Superhuman in You. And I think we've ignited the superhuman in Lori. So her story is an interesting one. And it also relates on how you can ignite your superhuman in you. So it's not like Sally has special juju. We actually all have it. Hey, Lori, how are you doing?
Hi, Sally. Good morning. How are you?
Good. What have you been up to?
Oh gosh, many things, most of which just really focusing on just being in a different place in life, thanks to a lot of the energy healing you have done for me. You have enlightened me with information, and it's just really changed my place in the world and the season I'm in now. So just really
Awesome.
enjoying life and continuing to move through figuring out my own superhuman gifts.
Yeah. And we all endowed with it, which is so awesome and something that is much needed for everyone, I feel, needs to know about themselves. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you felt when we first got together and began our journey on this, well, I guess entry into the woo-woo.
Yeah, right. No, I would clock that too. And I have to admit that in the beginning, I was pretty skeptical. I was coming from a place of complete defeat. I was living in fight or flight, 24/7, which was just wreaking havoc on my body, on my emotions, on my spirit. I was going through the motions, still going to work, still, living every day, but just with this heavy cloud over me. And when we started working, it just started to erode away. Um, and the amazing thing, I think, was truly that, like how you introduced this video, you said we all have it. And I don't think I truly believed that. I thought this was just something that you could do, and you could do it to me and for me. And I know you told me that I could do it for myself, and I don't think I really believed it until we started to get into it. So
Yeah,
life,
going
I
into
would,
those layers, right?
yeah, right. So life has really
So
changed.
when at the very beginning, just to bring our audience up to
Mhm.
speed a little bit, can you give them some of the physical symptoms you were experiencing before
Absolutely. And
we
I think
started?
sure, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. I think the first thing we addressed was my jaw clenching, which definitely was an outlet of all that anxiety and the fear. And I was in a constant state of just my jaw clenched. I would wake up in the night and my jaw was clenched and it hurt. And I was just like my fist balled, like I was just waiting for the next thing. What was going to happen, what was going to go wrong next. And it just physically was showing in tightness in my shoulders, but I'd cracked a couple molars. Like that was the first thing I realized. I'd gone to a dentist and they said, "Oh, you've cracked two molars." And I thought, "Oh my gosh, I knew I was clenching, but I didn't realize I was doing so much damage." And right away, that was the initial thing we started working on. And I saw improvement almost immediately. Just everything unclenched, got lighter, just wasn't expecting the worst. No, catastrophic thinking was starting to ease up a little bit, and the physical symptoms started to go away.
Right. And you had a lot of anxiety in the very beginning, like
So much.
almost like you're the cat clinging to the ceiling, just like
Sky was
rubber
falling
band.
all the time.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
always feeling the fight or flight.
always.
Um, and then that also had an effect on your blood sugars. Is that right?
That's true. I was diagnosed with diabetes. Surprisingly, I didn't realize what a toll that all of that anxiety was taking again on my physical body. But luckily, within 3 months, that has improved dramatically. I feel like we'll continue to see it improve. I know things don't change overnight, and the fact that they've changed so drastically in 3 months is nothing short of,
Well, would
miraculous. It
you mind
just speaks.
sharing with people exactly what that dramatic drop was? So when we
Yeah,
began to work
absolutely.
on the blood sugar issues,
Yeah.
where that was prior and what happened in those 3 months, knowing that we're still in that process because we just learned something new today too, and maybe we'll talk about that here in just a few moments. But go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. No, when I started, and again, this was a very surprising diagnosis. I didn't really fall under any of the criteria to expect to be diagnosed with diabetes. My A1C was 9.3, which was extremely high, and told my medical professionals that this had been going on for some time. I immediately came to you and said, okay, here's our next hurdle. Where do we go with this? And you started doing energy healing on me immediately. I just went back for my 3-month visit, did my blood work. My A1C is 6.7, which is just slightly out of range of being pre-diabetic. And I only expect that to improve. So I think in a very
Yeah.
short amount of time, they've been very impressed.
And it's been a bit of a process too, because
Sure.
it's not like one thing creates it. It's like because we're a multiple dimensional being, but we also have all these systems in our bodies, the
Sure.
nervous
Sure.
system, the digestive system, and it's all interacting, all interplaying. So sometimes it's the teasing out what's going on. And also, some of this has to do being diabetic, because I'm trained with Dolores Cannon and
Mhm.
QHHT. We also know that there is not only the emotional component, but there's also the stuff going on in the mind. And for you, you'd been through kind of a rough period in your life where you
Mhm.
felt like you weren't getting enough joy, and it was a pretty traumatic period where it just sort of became the snowball and escalated. And so one thing sort of led to another. So the mind was sort of holding on. There's not enough sweetness in your life, so you gravitated emotionally towards sugar products, which
Yeah.
sort of then propelled you into being pre-diabetic and then into full-fledged diabetes. Is that correct? Am I
Sure.
summing
Along
that
with
up right?
probably, yeah, along with probably the long-term stress and anxiety just
The high
compounding. I know that's a,
cortisol levels and
yes.
the stressors and
Yeah.
adrenaline and all of that
They're just a
completely
vicious
going out of
cycle.
balance. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a lot, and it played havoc on your hormones too. So it's
Mhm.
not like it's just in one space. I mean, being energy healer, and I use the term lightly because it's just really the power of attention and intention. And not only can I do it, you can do it. Anybody listening can also become a healer, and healer of not only others but themselves. But going back to the point, when we have all these multiple layers, it sometimes takes a little time to navigate through, what needs to go next. You can't just pull it out all at once because obviously that would put the body in shock. And I did that
Right.
to me. I did that to me
Right.
over the weekend. I'm thinking, oh, I'm so ready for this. And what do? I do a whole bunch of energy healing on myself because we just went through Labor Day and like, oh, I've got time. I'll just probably just kind of take it easy. No, I kicked my energetic backside. And I was put myself in a place where I couldn't sleep, but I was tired and couldn't get up. And it's just like, oh heavens, for 2 days. But wow, what a difference I made. And this is something I've been ongoing for 5 or 6 years. And still there's always these layers. But I'm at the end of it now. And also I had some learning curve to do too, just by bringing in my own mix. So I knew that Dolores Cannon with QHHT offered a lot. Bring in Dr. Bradley Nelson, who did trapped emotional energy removal. That did a lot. Then David Hayes, the praying medic, also had some contribution to my healing energy that I do in this mix of modalities that I've sort of blended together. And once I did that, then the energy clearing I've done on not only myself accelerated, but I also think we accelerated you too. Can you
Oh
tell us
gosh,
a little
yes.
bit about that acceleration, how you felt before and where it left you today?
Yeah, absolutely. Just in overall terms of quality of life, like emotionally, spiritually, physically, I was exhausted. I was just wrung out. Again, I think we spoke of adrenal fatigue. Like my adrenals couldn't have been on more heightened alert. Just constantly. My sleep was just, you know, fretful. I never woke up rested. Versus today, where I would say my quality of life and all those aspects, and my mind, body, spirit, just completely different. Like the way I am in the world, I'm not constantly in flight or fight. I am relaxed. My body's relaxed. Overall, I feel healthy. I feel good, with the exception of, dealing with blood sugar issues, which I feel are so under control. But just my state of life and being in the world is so improved, and I'm starting to acknowledge some of the things that I can do. When you say you can do this, you can heal. I leave most of that up to you, but there are times where I really go inward and my thinking is positive and powerful. I think you've reminded me that that power is within me, and I can decide, how my body is going to respond, how my emotions are going to respond, how my mind's going to respond. And I think that also comes from you clearing out a lot of things that would have been kind of just building and keeping me in that habit of how I reacted.
Yeah, and that's what's really important, understanding how all this comes together and why I bring in Dolores Cannon and Dr. Brad. I
Mhm.
married him. I thought it was time, because we're working with the subconscious mind.
Mhm.
And so you got to clear those energies. And then Dr. Bradley Nelson, his whole thing is how emotions are actual frequencies. So if you feel low or anxiety ridden, those are very low frequencies. But if you're happy, those are high frequencies.
Sure.
Those low frequencies building over time get caught and build up as big energy balls in our bodies. And then they begin to distort the electromagnetic flow that we go through. And then any part that is weak in our body becomes affected first. And then it becomes
Sure.
almost a system shutdown. And I think that both of us, because I came out of corporate America and I'm like, I was the cat in the ceiling too. I shared that with you, where you can't sleep at night, and you're sometimes you do have panic attacks, and you find yourself paralyzed and like, how is it I cannot get out?
Yeah.
And having people say, well, get over it. Well, if I could get over it, don't you think I would? Do you think I want to live like this? I don't think
Right.
so. And so it's just bringing all these modalities together and understanding, oh, we can do a lot. We can move a lot out. It can bring the physical body back into a better flow. But we also caught some past life energies that were also affecting you. So not only do we begin to clear the trapped emotional energy here, we
Mhm.
also removed some of the programs that were in the mind aspect.
Yes.
That was interesting because that's different from past life energy. But the mind is the programs that either you've told yourself or you've heard others say that you believed that this is not working for you. And so, okay, this isn't working. So the subconscious mind is taking all that in. This is not working. I have diabetes. I have this. I have that. And once we begin to clear the trapped emotional energies, and then we go to the mind, we remove the programs that are not working in your best and highest good, then we can accelerate, go to the spirit complex, and we remove some past life energies on that too. Is there something that you want to add to that? Because we kind of focus on the body, those other two aspects and what that did and how it affected you.
Yeah. When you address the past life, trapped emotions. It's really funny because I wasn't sure what to expect from that, but there's a feeling of resonance. It resonates with you. You don't know why it's true, but you feel in your spirit and your soul that it's correct. It hits home with you for a reason, and it's so liberating. It's really I can't quite put my finger or explain properly just the lift that comes off when you address these things that you don't really realize you're carrying around with you. But these past lives are always with us, and these issues that are just like, why was I feeling this? Oh, when you talk about it, it's like, okay, this explains so much. And there's just that feeling of this resonates. I know this to be true. I feel it in my soul that this is true. So we had several instances of that.
So as those begin to lift and we remove those programs,
Mhm.
now not everybody resonates with past lives, and we're not here to argue whether they are real or not real. I think everybody needs to put it in the box that fits their belief system. It could be just like a dream where the mind is telling the body something. We're not here to argue that. All we know is that when we move those energies out, change happens. And
Mhm.
for you, this accelerated the blood sugar imbalances that you were experiencing. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
I
Yeah,
think
I think we could kind
imbalances.
of, yeah, I think as we
Yeah.
were doing this, we could kind of see improvements, as we
Mhm.
would find one thing and move through that, there would be an improvement and on to the next thing and then an improvement. And I don't think it's a coincidence that these improvements came after we moved that energy.
Right. And what's so beautiful about this, it does take time to clear all
Mhm.
these things that created our illness. And I'll get into that in a little bit. I want to kind of talk about Dr. Emoto, so don't let me forget.
Okay.
But it also plays into what we're talking about today. So, as we begin to remove the trapped emotional energies, the programs that no longer work in our best and highest good, and removing those other energies that may be past life energies that are brought forward and carried through, you begin to see a more significant drop in the imbalances versus if we were just doing one technique, like just doing Dr. Brad, it was a much slower process. If we were
Yes.
just doing Dolores Cannon, again, it was a slower process. By
Mhm.
bringing all these modalities together, it accelerated the healing process. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would completely agree.
And what was so beautiful about that, we can get all these energies cleared, but the thing that we're finding, there was still a little bit going on with the blood sugar, that it's still slightly elevated, but our numbers are better, and we're still bringing things into alignment. Again, it's all about peeling away the layers. And
Mhm.
sometimes you can't see the deeper layers until you get the junk cleared out of the engine, and
Mhm.
you can pull each layer out at a time. As I began to tune in today, prior to our conversation, I learned that you had some food toxicity that was stored in your intestines. And that is the next thing that we have to work on clearing. But the other point, too, is that sometimes the higher self, the so we have the subconscious and the conscious mind. Sometimes the subconscious mind is not going to allow us to come into full and complete balance until you, the vernacular you, not you, Lori, but all of us, we learn, oh, we are our own creators of our own health and well-being. We. And so, yes, we can do a lot to clear the trapped emotional energies and all this other stuff, but you have to do the work yourself. And that's tuning into you and understanding that you create your reality. And that can be health or that can be misery and disease. It doesn't matter, because thoughts are thoughts, feelings are feelings, and your physical well being is a result of what your thoughts are and what your feelings are.
Yep.
And Dr. Lipton, there's Dr. Lipton. I keep calling him doctor. I think he's a PhD. Bruce Lipton wrote a book called Biology of Belief. And it's something I recommend to anybody watching this to sort of tap into, learn more about him. I also recommend people to look into Anita Morjani. She wrote a book, Dying to Be Me, and how fear created her illness and cancers, and how she was on her literally checking out in a coma and had a somewhat near-death experience, got clarity on the other side, and came back and was healed. And I don't know what year that was, 2005, 6, somewhere in there. Wrote a book, Anita Morjani, Dying to Be Me. The next is Dr. Emoto. Dr. Emoto was a scientist in Japan, and he wrote, it's about water. And so his studies were so interesting because he would have 3 beakers of water. One he would talk nice to, one he would just ignore, and the other one he would scream at. And then he would dump the water out. The beakers are still wet, put them in a freezer, and then he would pull out and look at the ice crystals. The one he talked lovingly to, positive thoughts and feelings, they had beautiful snowflake crystals. The one in the middle was ignored. It was just there, kind of there, kind of not, kind of picking up both frequencies. But the one he screamed at, it was a real mess. So if you think about this, we are mostly, have a lot of water in our body. And if we have a negative mindset, if we are constantly in a negative thinking pattern, then this is what we're doing to our bodies. We are creating our diseases through our belief systems. Some people would say, well, I have, this is genetic. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. We're not doctors. We don't know. But wouldn't it be interesting to challenge yourself to find out if you can change it? Yeah. Just like Anita Morjani did. And there's ways of doing it. First, you just got to clear all the gunk out, but then you also have to tap into the inner you, the inner Sally, the inner Lori, and say, okay, what is the next step? Because I feel personally that everybody can come back into perfect harmony, health, and balance if they put in the work themselves. So when you're working with any energy healer, you don't want to just assume they're going to go and turn the switch and suddenly your life is rainbows and ponies and you don't have another bad day in your life. That's not the way it works. Although wouldn't it be great if I could? But you also have to get to a place where you can begin to understand that, thanks, Sally, you've got me this far. Now I need to take the rest of the way so that from this point forward, I'm in command of my ship. I don't have to be, I can be a victim in life, but I don't have to live my life as a victim. I take control from this point forward. And that's what I think is so important about doing the work that we're doing. And that's where you're kind of getting to the place where I was trying to tell you, but Lori, you can create this in your mind. And you're like, yeah, I don't know, but... And maybe you could talk a little bit about that skepticism and what we did to overcome that.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, and that you just described it to a T. You kept saying that, and that's exactly what I said. Yeah, I don't know, but even recently we've had those discussions, and I think I react the same way. Although the power, I think the power that you've given me in believing that, and I don't know if it's too soon to bring this up. I know we were going to talk about it. The power of dissolving clouds. Mm-hmm. You sent me a video and you said, Lori, try this, start here. You may not think you can, have an effect on yourself, but try it on this little cloud. And now it's, a routine exercise for me. Sometimes it's once a day, sometimes a couple times a day. And just the power of being able to put my attention and intention on this cloud and dissolve it. It's gotten quicker. It's gotten more effective. I amaze myself sometimes, and that just buoys up my confidence. And the confidence, if I could do that to a cloud, what can I do for myself?
Yeah. And you just think, if you have thoughts and feelings affect matter, what can it do to your own body? Yeah.
Yeah, so much. And just your day. I mean, just how you change, how you go about your day. Mm-hmm. just the way you're thinking about life, the positivity and the power you have in yourself, leaving that victimhood, that defeated place behind. It's just so empowering.
But sometimes you got to clear the gunk out to get to that point,
Clear the
don't
gunk.
you?
Oh, and we've done that. Yep. Yes, we've done that.
Yeah, because it's been a kind of a journey for both of us, because we
It
were
has.
both really negative thinkers. And in fact, I had a conversation with a gal not too long ago, and she was like, oh my goodness, I need to become a master manifester. I said, well, what's going on with you? And she goes, oh, my life is basically this train wreck. And I said, oh, well, you are a master manifester. And she goes, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah. And so, first comes the thought, then
Yes.
comes the feeling, then creates the manifestation. So where you are today is a manifestation of all your prior thoughts and feelings. So if
Mhm.
you want your world to turn, you have to do the work of turning it. We can clear a lot of energies and give you techniques to help that process along and show you how to do this. But you ultimately have to take it upon yourself to say, I got this. And you do.
Mhm.
And I think
Yes.
you doubted so much. And I think that cloud is like, I would remember walking out my back door and seeing this bigger cloud. I mean, I'm not dissolving hurricanes, but
Right.
I had a little wisp of a cloud I did in 45 seconds, but I wasn't even tuned in that day. It was a day I was home cleaning, going to the grocery and stuff like that. And I popped out and there was this big cloud. I said, oh, you're taunting me. And so I put the video or my phone on it and I dissolved it in 3 minutes. And I actually kind of want to share that with everybody because what I kind of want to talk about, because of what kind of plays into the discussion today with your healing journey and the quick progression that we've learned together and accelerated in your healing journey, is I went back to Gregg Braden. And I recommend that the listeners go find Gregg Braden. He's a Gregg, Braden, Braden. And he has a talk and on video, and I'll show a clip of it here, where they are dissolving a tumor in a bladder. He keeps calling it a female. I think it's a guy. It doesn't really matter. But there is a tumor in the bladder. It's 3 inches. And it takes 3 minutes to dissolve it. And they do it on ultrasound. And, when I shared that video with you months and months ago, you're like, yeah, but those are monks. And how much training do you have to become a monk? And I'm like, it's attention, intention, your thoughts, what you intend, and your feelings will create the manifestation and affect matter. Check out dissolving your clouds. So it all ties in. Dissolve a tumor, dissolve a cloud. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
It is, it's just what it is. And you have control to heal your own bodies. When you saw that film for the first time, maybe share with them what your thoughts were, and then we'll
Yeah,
go.
it changed my perspective completely, Sally. I think you did send me that one before you sent me the clouds, and I said, dissolve a tumor. That was just inconceivable to me. I didn't ever associate that with the power of attention and intention. And you said start with a cloud. Let's try this simple exercise. Don't think about it in the huge scope of what you're building the tumor into. Think about it as this cloud. Start with a small one, start with a wisp of one.
Yeah, you
And
got
that
to build
just,
a muscle, right?
yes,
You got to start
yes.
little, and then you can expand. It's almost like you got to step out of your own disbelief.
You do step out of your own way, which I think after I watched that video and after we simplified it with the cloud, I came back to it with a completely different perspective. It made sense. It all made sense what we were doing together, that what we had moved, and my perspective and power and empowerment, that I could change these things with my attention and intention upon my own self, completely made that video understandable, relatable, doable. Not a monk, not dissolving any tumors, but you
Why not?
understand. Yeah, why not? Exactly. You understand how that could happen, how that could work. What can I do for myself? So,
Right, right. Yeah. And let me see if I have the ability to share the screen and see if we can get that
okay.
going. And let's see. There's my cloud. Uh, there we go. Gregg Braden. Can we see that?
Sure can.
Okay, I'm going to start. This is Gregg Braden. And it says up here at the top, Gregg Braden bladder cancer dissolves in less than 3 minutes using the language of emotion. And this is something I really want to promote is Gregg Braden. And for the listeners, look him up, buy his books, get his information because it will transform your world because of the work he has done. Will start getting you in the direction of total mind, body, spirit healing. And I think I've got it queued up. Let's see. So there you are. It is amazing. And it's through the power of attention and intention. It doesn't matter what the language is or the words you use, so long as you are understanding that it is what is taking place, that it is healed. It is already. You are in full healing. I think a lot of times when people are, when they're, especially those people who pray, they're always praying for something. So it always remains in the future instead of saying, I am healed, and through the command and intention and attention. And that's the difference. And ironically, that came through Brain Medic, which he wrote a book, Divine Healing, which I also recommend people get and read. Even if you're not Christian, it's okay. The message is still the same. The message still works. So, and then we'll go to compare that to this cloud video where I was just commanding it to be cleared, dissolved. Sorry. There it is, taunting me. So there you are.
Pretty
What are your
amazing.
thoughts?
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And if you had shown me that video, months ago,
Yeah.
I would have thought, can't do it. No way. That's amazing. You can do it. I can't do it.
That's what you initially thought.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. But you're not there now.
No, I'm not there now. In fact, it's just kind of a fun exercise. It just roots you in your own power. So I would encourage anybody who is watching your video to just try it, and then try it again and try it again and keep trying it, and just see how strong you get in your own attention and intention. And if you can focus on a cloud like that, just imagine what you can do in your own life. I think I am a good example of that, from where I have started to where I am today.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. And I wish I knew how to go from that screen back to the big screen. So I apologize. I'm just trying to learn Zoom here. Yeah, and I think it was important to compare it to Gregg's bladder cancer, dissolving the tumor, and compare that to the cloud that I dissolved, because it's not that the monks can do it and only them can do it, only Sally can do it. The message that I want to convey is you can be at any level, and just through your own attention and intention, you can dissolve a cloud. But if you are wrapped up in negative emotions, you're not going to be able to do it.
You can't do anything.
We're talking about being in your own way. If you are coming from a place of fear, and any emotion that is tied into fear, you're not going to be able to affect your reality to the positive like that. You're going to kind of keep in your zone of negative thinking, and train wreck is all I can say. So if you want to become effective in moving forward in cleansing those energies, you do have to start removing trapped emotional energy, removing some of the negative programs that go on in your mind. And programs can come from anywhere, and belief systems. We tell ourselves a bunch of stuff that's not true, and yet the subconscious mind believes it. And then also remember, you have a spiritual side, and you've got to get that cleared so that you can become a positive manifester, and helping everybody else to the best and highest good of others. So for those people who are out there thinking, ooh, I'm going to get some juju and put a curse on somebody, forget it, not going to happen. So don't even try it, not working. This is all about getting people healthy and moving forward in a happier, more healthy, intended life, so that they can enjoy from where they are now and move it forward. Make sense?
Makes so much sense. And I think for myself, what I realized once we cleared some things, once I started to vibrate a little higher, before I was attracting, fear-based things, the next bad thing, negativity, just negative things. Once we cleared this up and raised the vibration, healed the energies, cleared the emotions, the vibration is higher, and the attraction to other high vibrating energies is night and day difference. I think people will be amazed what they attract if they've been stuck in this negative mindset. Suddenly, when this is cleared, you are just opening the door to good things and
more
good people,
abundance in your life.
Yes,
better relationships. I think some of the fears that people have, I had it. Well, I have these friends, and yes, they might begin to fall away. I've had many friends fall away, but they were also trapped in the heavier emotions. And every time I was around them, when I would begin to leave them, I would feel drained. And like, do they want to feel better? And sometimes people don't, for whatever reason. They want to kind of stay stuck where they are, and that's great. But for me, it was affecting my health. And, I'm a new grandma and I want to be able to enjoy grandchildren, until they're adults. I don't want to check out early. And I don't want to feel miserable in the process of getting there. So, if people begin to fall away, understand it's okay. You'll get new friends. You'll get friends who are like-minded and be able to vibe with you, which is a very 70s thing. But you kind of you feel better because you're around people who are more optimistic, who are kind of flowing in that same direction as you, and that begins to build on itself. And reach back to your friends that are sort of in the muck and say, hey, here's my hand. Let's help you get feeling better too. What can I do to help you? Do I just need to listen? Are you ready for a different perspective? Share your own healing journey and story and inspire people. But what you can't do is lecture people. If you just do this, you'll be better. If you just believe this way, you'll be better. That doesn't work. It never has.
That way.
So just, when people are ready, they'll come. So let me plug my mic back in. It probably sounds a little bit better. All right. Can you hear me better?
Better.
So on a recap on everything that we just talked about today, is there anything that you would like to leave the audience with?
Just that, coming to you from a place of skepticism and just being unsure, I would say to anyone, just open your mind, just give it a chance, and you will be amazed what you have the power to do, what you have the power to allow Sally to do when you open your mind and you create that positive environment where healing can happen. I just encourage everybody to open themselves up to that, because it truly is amazing.
I was going to share, I had this lady reach out to me. Her children were out of control. And I think I sent you that text yesterday.
Yes.
Her kids are just completely out of control. Why I wanted to bring it up is parents can give me permission to work with their children, but their children don't have to know. It's not like it's a placebo effect. And I'm not opposed to the placebo effect. If that's what takes place and you're healed, I am all for it. I don't care. I just want the world to feel better, because I know how awful it is to be stuck and feeling miserable. And, who wants to be there for any minute of their life? And what I thought was, what I found that's interesting, people don't have to even know I'm working on them to get the benefit of healing. Now, kids are naturally predispositioned to be happy and move forward. It truly is like becoming a child again, where everything is a wonder, everything is a mystery. You're open to everything and you want to explore everything. It's only as we age that we begin to set up our own programs saying, well, we need to limit that belief because we've been told this all our lives, etc. But anyway, this grandmother and the mother reached out to me, and they were concerned about the three children, and the three children were just really behaving badly, and they were constantly at each other. Well, kids will be kids, and I think you saw that in my
Yes.
text when I was allowed and got permission to share it. She was like, yeah, kids will be kids, but basically, Sally, this is over the top. This is not where they normally are. And so we found some stuff going on, and we cleared that. And then the grandmother sent me a text, and she goes, all I can say is, wow, I babysat 4 children today, and for almost 3 hours. The change in them is miraculous. Such a peaceful house again. The children were calm, in control of themselves, and respectful. Thank you. And I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. But and I get those a lot. And just like on my testimonial page, the little boy who had garlic allergies, this little boy had eczema so bad that he was itching his skin. It was eczema so bad. He was afraid to go to school. He was being made fun of. He was just in first grade. And mom reached out to me and I said, I think he's got an allergy to garlic. And she's like, no, he's been tested. Garlic is not one of those things. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't like to disagree with the medical community, but it's my opinion, energetically speaking, that he's got an allergy to garlic. And if you'll just take that away and see what his skin does, let me know. Well, the skin began to clear up. And she goes, wow, I cook everything with garlic. I mean, she loves garlic. And so garlic's in all her foods. She removed that, the skin began to clear. And I said, wouldn't it be interesting to see if we could clear the allergy? And isn't it interesting that it didn't show up as an allergen in the blood test? And what we found was that there was a distortion in the spirit complex. We cleared that. The little boy's allergies went away. And then within a week, I got a message, an email from the mom that I believe I've shared on my website through her permission. And she said, oh my gosh, he came home from school today saying, Mom, I love my skin. And he was eating pizza and normal things. I mean, his diet. Now, of course, the mom's like, well, can you make him stop eating junk food now? And I'm like, nope. He's a teenager now, so he can do all that stuff. But his body began to process it. So we have to, as energy healers out there, or anybody trying to even heal themselves, never forget, sometimes the problem is not just inside the physical body, but it can also be in the mind, and it can also be in the spirit complex. So remember, you are a mind, body, spirit complex. So that's what I would leave this note on. So anyway, anything else at the end?
No, great information.
Well, I will have to say, I hope everybody enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please reach out. You can find me on sallyknopp.com. You'll see my name listed there, sallyknopp.com. And there are links to the other videos on my website. Sometimes certain platforms try to remove them. So it is where we are. But I do try to keep it on my website. If you have any questions, you can reach out through there, or you can just email me at sallyknopp@gmail.com if you have any questions. Lori, thanks for joining me today, and hopefully we'll be back for more Energetically Speaking in future videos.
Great. Thanks for having me, Sally.
Take care.